Hello, are you around my age? This time, the game is the familiar Street Fighter II Champion Edition, and it turns out a pretty decent hacked version came out in 2019. Actually, I used to think the Kowloon or Kangryong versions were the highlights of Street Fighter II hacks, but the version I'm going to introduce this time, called the Goldum Edition, is much better. The gameplay itself is similar to the Kowloon version, where the first hit wins, but bugs like characters floating in the air at the start of the game in the Kowloon version have been fixed. Honestly, looking into these hacked versions in detail is a headache, so let's just check out the crazy moves through a computer mirror match. For reference, this version also has a feature where pressing the start button in-game changes the character in order, and there are special features that only the central processing unit can use, so it's pretty fun even when playing against the computer. In the case of Ryu, compared to the original, you can clearly see that his movement speed has become much faster. When he uses a jumping move, you can see a Hadouken coming out behind him as he lands. However, the central processing unit has the special ability to throw a projectile while the player is performing a special move, and since the character's movement speed is so fast, honestly, it's pretty hard to control the distance as you want. In the case of central processing unit Ryu, it seems like he has the special ability where a projectile follows when he does a sliding move. I tried sliding by myself, but no projectile appeared, just Ryu's knee. The fastest way to attack is to throw a Hadouken with a short jump. For reference, the projectile created this way has either a low or mid hitbox, so there are often ridiculous situations where you have to crouch to block a projectile that looks like it's flying. The second is Ryu, obsessed with the hacked version character. Actually, compared to the Nine Dragons version, not much has changed. Just spamming Shoryuken can break the game. The only difference from the Nine Dragons version is that the way the regular Hadouken flies has changed. And while the projectile color is blue in both the Nine Dragons and the original, here, fitting for the Golden Edition, it's a natural orange color. There's a limit to the number of projectiles on screen, so in a Ryu mirror match, the one who spams Shoryuken first wins here. Honestly, just using Ryu makes one coin clears really easy, regardless of any central processing unit perks or whatever. Please don't blame me for the uncomfortable background things. I didn't make them. In the final stage of the soul, fireballs come out from time to time, but I still don't know exactly when they appear. Sometimes there are long periods when no fireballs appear at all, and other times they come out in rapid succession. The other skills are the soul's super headbutt, good, and Yuk Boy. Although it sounds like Yuk Boy, it's really Dosakoi. With light or medium attacks, the speed matches the original, but with a heavy attack, it hits instantly like teleporting. But for Hacking Paw, shooting out a lot of projectiles is much stronger than those kinds of moves. Since he's a character that relies on luck, if you're unlucky, you can even lose to the central processing unit. Personally, just like in the Nine Dragons version, one of the most troublesome opponents here is central processing unit Blanka. When he does the electric attack like that, your guard doesn't break, so you end up taking that much damage. But it seems impossible for a player to stick to you like the central processing unit does. Sometimes a sonic boom is released randomly, but it doesn't really matter. The rolling attack has performance on a completely different level from the player. The player has fewer Hadoukens in exchange for having yoga frames, while the central processing unit has a ton of Hadoukens. Honestly, the central processing unit is much more considerate. The player probably can't do anything. Ultimately, the central processing unit prevails, causing the first loss. I had to bring out Ryu, expecting an easy win, but the opponent fought hard. Yoon is the character I hate the most in this game. Unlike the Kuryong version, in this one you can't shoot a sonic boom while jumping up and then perform an air grab. The end. The end. Of course, it's possible to keep going up into the sky while shooting projectiles, but that's only meaningful when you're running away. You can't attack at all. So since he's not a character who can just spam projectiles like Ryu, I personally think he's weak in this version. It's only because it's against the AI that you can win like this. If it were a real person, this tactic wouldn't work at all. The end. The end. The summer setup itself is pretty good, but I think the damage has been nerfed a lot. The end. If I fight up close for no reason, there's a high risk I'll get beaten, so I have no choice but to play defensively. The end. I tried to land a combo too, but combos like the original didn't work here. The end, 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 the end. In the original, Ken and Ryu have some differences due to frame data, but in this hacked version, none of that matters at all. If you pick Ryu or Ken, the outcome is decided right away by who uses the Shoryuken first. Maybe the creator couldn't forget the ridiculous Shoryuken from the Cloud version, so it seems like they didn't care about balance at all. I tried it a few times with my friends just for fun, but you pretty much have to ban Ryu and Ken to enjoy this version. If you play the game like this, your friends will leave you and controllers will go flying. This is Chun-Li's signature move, the Hyakuretsu Kyaku, and it has a similar property to Homura's Hyakuretsu Ten that you saw earlier. And you can also move in the direction you want. The spinning bird kick, which was a sealed move in the original, has become much stronger. She fires a projectile along with the Yoga Flame, and this is actually pretty threatening. The central processing unit dodges and blocks it well, but for a human player, it's really tough to defend against. Disciplinary sustainability. In the first round, when I used Begilgak, the projectile didn't appear, and I don't know why. Anyway, in this version, Chun-Li's main moves are definitely spinning and bird kick. Compared to Homura's Baegyeoljum, Chun-Li's Baegyeolgak seems to have a much lower chance of producing a projectile. Thank you. In the hacked version, the central processing unit's long-term play with Blanka is quite tough. Like in the Goryong version, it's possible to spin the lariat while rising, but unfortunately, unlike Goryong, you can't do a Shoryuken in the air. And the player can't shoot projectiles with basic attacks, but in the central processing unit's long-term play, both basic attacks and projectiles are included by default. So if you get cornered and don't have an invincible move, you might lose health just by blocking basic attacks. With the central processing unit's incredible rapid-fire skills, it's a crazy guard damage situation. However, if the player manages to make the opponent guard once, there's a way to win just by guard damage. A yoga frame occurs at the bottom, and if you keep making them guard with this, they can never escape. Is the weakest among the four Heavenly Kings, Chick. In the Kowloon version, I believe the Yoga Frame was included but was too strong, so they changed it to just the Hadouken. When the central processing unit struggles, it also switches characters, often choosing the overpowered Ryu. I almost lost, but fortunately it didn't use Sungyang, so after a tough fight, I won. There aren't any major differences with the spear compared to Goryong. If you use Barcelona, you get a Yoga Frame, and if you use rolling, 2 Hadoukens are created. In the original, the spear's biggest advantages were its fast movement speed and long reach, but in this kind of crazy hacked version, basic attacks and movement speed don't have much impact. That's why it seems like it's the weakest character. If you're in the guard version or the attack version, you can't change characters even if you press the start button. I was surprised too when I saw that the Tiger Uppercut gave guard damage with the projectile that comes out. It's just insane. I think it's because if you get hit up close, the projectile disappears quickly, so the projectile keeps activating. Earlier, I said Luna characters should be banned, but I think Sagat should be added to that list as well. It's a leftover projectile, and I think the developers didn't properly check it. If you use Psycho with light, it stays put. With medium, it's normal. With heavy, it feels like it teleports. This much is understandable since it's a hacked version. The problem with this guy is the repress. I can accept that you can use repress in the air, but the creator didn't check it properly before releasing it, and I think there's a reason for that. Whether it's phase 1 or phase 2, if you use repress, you can only go to the right. Even if you want to fly to the left like this, you always end up moving backward to the right. It's not even that kind of pattern, but it just favors the right side too much. There is an advantage in being able to do projectile zoning, but our dear projectile can't become a cowardly zoner. Since I'm cowardly, I had to defeat it by zoning. It was fun to try a hacked version I hadn't seen in a long time, but since it ends in a one-hit fight, I don't think I can recommend it for playing with friends. Personally, I think fighting games are more thrilling when persistent fundamentals and mind games are mixed in, but this one is all about whose projectile covers more of the screen, so it's perfect just for killing time or for a quick laugh. Since hacked versions keep appearing, Street Fighter II Champion Edition is clearly still popular. That's all, this has been Toby. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and like, and subscribe again.